what's up guys, MugenLord here, and before we even begin in this video, I just want to just say, man, the year 2025 is going to be one hell of a year. Quite unpredictable. It's only January and feathers are already being ruffled and across, politics, society, and also in entertainment in general. More specifically, I'm talking about gaming itself and what's been going on, especially within the culture of gaming and the culture war. And I also want to just thank you guys for pretty much showing up, especially back in 2023 where my channel had just discovered a rise, a boom in subscribers, views, and everything, because you guys trust or you guys value my opinion when we talk about the issues that goes on within the gaming industry and just entertainment in general. And I really appreciate that, and you guys have carried me from 2023 all the way up into now. And the thing is, what I like about you guys is the fact is that when we talk about the culture war, both sides are no different from one another. They just on the opposite end of the coins. And I gave you my thoughts and opinions on it in a couple of months ago, and you go definitely check that video out where both sides, in my personal opinion, have become insufferable. And that's because of a few actors and just people in general who turned the culture war and made it into their identity. And then you have people who pretty much follow other content creators and idolize these content creators to the point it becomes more like a cult, because no matter what, you're going to support these people. And we oftentimes call out the woke side and the people on this side for lack of integrity, lack of character and everything. But we're also seeing people on the anti-woke doing the same exact thing, but no one really wants to call them out, because calling them out will also means that, hey, the message, we'll lose the message, we'll lose the culture war. And it came to the point where it became a sport. No matter what, you support the person on your team, even if they're ripping you off, or even if they're talking, even if they're being inconsistent and lack character. We have to support this person because it's the message that's important. And that's the wrong way to go about it, because when it comes to me, I'm a person that judge you based on your character and how you present yourself. Because you can talk all you want, but if you're not practicing what you preaching, or you're not being consistent with your messaging and with your actions, then no matter what you say, I don't care. You're a person that I can't trust, or you're a person that I'm going to be very leery of and keep my distance from. And that's the problem that's going on with the anti-woke side. They're possessing the same traits as the other side, and people tend to look the other way and not say anything because this person shares the same ideology as the other. And what I appreciate about my fan base or my viewer base is that you guys are not part of this echo chamber that I have created. My channel, my community is not an echo chamber. I welcome all peoples of all walks of life, ideologies. It doesn't matter here on this channel. And I love the fact is that I try to keep you guys open-minded, try to bring nuance to these discussions so you can think for yourself and not allow these content creators that people idolize to think for them and tell them how to move accordingly. No, I want you to think for yourself. And I always say to you guys, always question things, and even question me. The things that I say to you, question me as well. That's what keeps everybody, that's what keeps the balance, that's what keeps me on my toes, and that's what keeps your head straight as well. No echo chambers here, but we can't say that for quite a few people on this side. So another thing that I like is that when it comes to character, and what I cherish most about a person's character is a person that lives up to their character, that means what they say and be consistent with it. And that's the type of person that I am, and I try to be as consistent as possible. And when I'm wrong, I can admit when I'm wrong, because there was a discussion that I had on Twitter that was quite interesting, and this person pointed out a few things that made me question what I was saying. And I stopped for a second. I was like, you know what? I'm fighting against the very thing that I'm for, that I'm championing for. What the hell is going on? Based on the discussion that we had on this topic, which you can check out, I'll post that tweet in the link in the description below. But once I went back to think about it, I said, damn, this person made a point. And it brought me back to reality and back to the stance that I've always been a part of. And I really appreciate that. And you look in the comment section, I even admitted, said, yo, dude, you were right. I can't even argue that. You this person literally owned me, because I had to go back and reassess and think about what I was saying at that moment. And that person was right. And guess what? It was a constructive conversation. We shook hands in the tweet itself, and we moved on. So that's the type of person that I am. I always try to stay consistent with my messaging, and if I'm wrong and you guys point it out, I can admit that. And it's sad to say that there's people in this space that cannot do that and will not do that, and there's people that encourage this type of behavior, and that's where the problem lies. So what are we talking about here? Well, there's a person here in the culture war space that really has people really in a tizzy right now, and people's been talking about it for the past 2 days now, or even longer than that. And this person that we're talking about is, of course, Melonie Mac herself, who has been going on this downward spiral of inconsistencies that people have been pointing out for the past couple of months, and she's been receiving a lot of backlash when it comes to this. And I just wanted to weigh in and give my thoughts and opinions on it. And before I give my thoughts and opinions on it, I also want to make this clear when I make this video. I have no disdain, I have no hatred towards Melonie Mac, because one, I don't know this woman at all. I only interacted with her over the internet, and besides that, with my interactions has been quite positive towards Melonie Mac and everything. And in fact, she's one of the people that's responsible for why my channel has blown up the way it did, because she showed that love and she showed that admiration for my video, shared it with our community, and here we are. But with that being said, just because I have a nice interaction with this person and everything doesn't mean that I'm going to turn around and look the other way and not call things out for what it is. No, I'm not this type of person. And I don't care if I get along with people or anything, especially within this space. I'm going to call it for what it is. And we need more people to do that. And that's the problem. People are looking the other way because this person or these people, these content creators, share the same ideology as them. It's like a cult. It's no different than the other side. It's just happening on this end, and this has to stop. So I wanted to weigh in on my opinions when it comes to what's going on with Melonie Mac and her inconsistency within the culture war itself. So where do we begin? Well, for starters, I guess we can start with everything that people have been talking about, which is what's it called? Goonergate, or whatever it's called. So what is Goonergate? Well, apparently, there's a game called First Descendant. You guys know First Descendant. You've seen a lot of advertisements about it. In fact, I covered it here on my channel, and my excitement, looking forward to play it. And I was also invited to the betas. I talked about it on the channel and everything. And I even have it installed on my Xbox Series X. I mean, I've been so busy running my comic book company, haven't had a chance to actually play it for some time now. But yes, this game's been around for a couple months now, and people's been playing the game and everything. Well, there's one situation when it came to First Descendant where a user, and this is a specific user who decided to upload a video of one of the characters in a leotard and a jacket, and decided to use a emote dance in order for the person to for the characters to dance. And they switched the camera in a way so you could see the character dancing, twitching her hips, you know, and her butt is moving back and forth. And Melonie Mac pretty much left a comment or left a tweet talking about that this game, that pretty much that the character or the game itself is literally softcore porn. And this had pretty much triggered the entire community, especially those who play the game, and especially those who are on the anti-woke side when it comes to gaming in general. And they were saying that, hey, how is this porn? This doesn't make any sense at all. And she pretty much had doubled down on it. And many other people who are in Melonie Mac's camp had also weighed in and said, hey, is this what we really want in gaming? Having, you know, softcore porn and just having degeneracy in games. Which to me, I found when it came to First Descendant and this whole entire topic disingenuous, for the simple fact is, I guarantee you that any of these players or any of these people that's complaining about this game had never played this game at all. But we're going to dive into that in quite a bit when we talk more about the First Descendant and Melonie Mac's opinion on it. So the main question is, what constitutes as porn or softcore porn when it comes to games? Because all this can be quite subjective, because according to Melonie Mac, the woman in this image of the First Descendant doing the dance, she considered it as softcore porn. But what people are having problems with is that just a couple of months ago, Melonie Mac was champion Eve from Stellar Blade, the main protagonist in that game. And she was a champion for how sexy she is. And she was also a champion of uncensoring the game.
The evil, no fun overlords at Sony are at it again with the Stellar Blade censorship, not only in outfits. Don't even get me started on The Last of Us 2, which is something you would see any normal woman wearing at the beach. Nope, not allowed. Gaming journos continue to be offended by beautiful female video game characters, but this doesn't surprise me. Also, what we're seeing, and I've made videos on this and talked about this time and time again with the video game characters and them defeminizing the female characters.
She didn't want the game censored at all, and she loved the outfits, and also encouraged other people to actually buy and support the game. So this confuses me the most, is because Eve has a shit ton of costumes that are pretty risque, and she played the game, or I think she played the game, but she told others to go out and support the game, and she was against the censorship of the game. And then all of a sudden we get a video like this one right here. All of a sudden this constitutes as softcore porn. So there's some inconsistency here. Which one is it? How do she define what porn is, when just a few moments ago she was champion Eve, and now seeing something like this, and this character in the outfit that she's wearing is actually more covered up compared to the outfits that Eve herself has, which have a lot of people scratching their heads when it comes to this. But we're not done yet. After that, she just recently, about yesterday, or by the time you see this video, maybe 2 days ago or whatever, she had finally made a response to the whole Goonergate situation.
I got canceled from the anti-woke side, right? Canceled or cancel attempt. You know, it is what it is.
And in this video, she tries to make herself into the victim by saying that she's being canceled on the platform. And this is something that I noticed that Melonie Mac does, and a couple other content creators within the anti-woke side of things in the culture war, where they say they are being canceled. And in the Melonie Mac's case, she's claiming that she's being canceled. And no, sorry to tell you, you're not being canceled. It's just the fact is that people see how inconsistent you are and calling you out on it, and they decide to say, you know what, we're not falling for this, we're out of here. And the thing is, you've been blocking people who gave their opinion, something that you also claim to be against. So there's a lot of hypocrisy that's going on within your narrative and the things that you say. And like I said, I'm all about character. That's all I'm about, character and consistency. YouTube haven't banned you. You're also on social media. You also had a shit ton of journalists at some point that always made hit pieces about you, and yet you still here. You have a thriving YouTube channel. You have a thriving audience. I can't really argue that now after what's going on today. You're still here. You're fine. You're not canceled. It's just that people see through the bullshit. People are calling you out on it. People are seeing the inconsistency in what you say and in the actions and how you move. And then people is calling that out, and people are walking away. You're not being canceled. But I digress. And what baffles me the most in this particular situation is how she's trying to use the declining player base and Descendant to try to prove her.
These games keep tanking. They lack substance because these perverts, these queer perverts, want to insert their ideology into the game instead of actually making a good game. So guess what? They crash. Well, you know what? Same thing happened here. Here you have a game where the main focus and selling point has been driven by perverted reasons.
Where she's saying that this game is nothing more than gooner bait. This game has no substance. This game has nothing. The game is not really that good. This, that, and the third. And as I said before, I can guarantee you she probably never played it. And the fact is, that's far from the case. The problem that people are having with, and the reason why people are walking away from the first Descendant is not because of the game just nothing but gooner.
How we get a better chance at getting pieces, right? If we go run, you know how many kills it took for me to get this? I'm telling you, over 100, maybe close to 200 kills on Pyro. Maybe if you're running the harder difficulty on these boss fights, there is a higher chance that double golds drop.
How does First Descendant get people to endgame? It does it a little bit differently to some other games where it's a gradual progression. You know what you're getting into very early on with the Colossus fights, but then there's not really much else outside of that besides general daily farming and daily tasks.
So yes, it looks like players are running into a very big in-game problem that is stirring up a lot of discussion here. We're going to talk about that. Nexon, please fix mod capacity. And they give an example here, 23 crystallization catalysts on 3 total descendants that come with 4 polarities each, 20 plus hours of farming, 184 hours of crafting, 40 plus hours of leveling, result 3 unchangeable builds. This has 2,200 upvotes.
Descendant has been out for a couple of months now, and I'm having a lot of fun with it, and it's great. But with Season 2 now calling our names, do you think there's enough content to keep us coming back? I do all that as many times as you like, and because of that, it's not a secret that there's a lot of grinding in this game. And the community is fairly divided on whether that's a good or bad thing.
It's the simple fact is that Nexon themselves are not listening to the player base, and if you look at what people are saying that, hey, we enjoyed the game, we like the game, is that content is just not coming out fast enough. And then also people are having issues with the end game. The in-game content is what people are having issues with, and people want that to also be addressed as well. And then you have other players saying that, yo, this game feels very, very grindy. I wish there's ways to break up that grind and to make it, you know, to not make it feel like work and everything. And those are the issues that people are having. And most people who played the first Descendant the first couple of months has pretty much caught up on all of their content. So if the content's not coming up fast enough as the players are going through the content as fast as they're putting it out, then what are these players going to do? They're going to walk away from the game. They're not going to play it. They're going to come back until some more content come. So it makes sense. Why are you going to continue to play a game when you've seen most of the content, you played through most of the content, and it's not enough content coming back as fast as you're playing it? You know, these are live service games. There's people who love these games and play these games passionately over and over and over again to the point there's nothing to do with it. We even talked about this before, how journalists tried to pass a narrative about Power World, that 95% of its player base had experienced a decline. And this is earlier on. I'm not talking about this season, but I'm talking about when the game was first released. They talked about there was a 95% decline, but you later on find out when it comes to Power World is the fact is that players played through all the content. And now players are waiting for more content. So if you're playing through the game and you're playing through a lot of the game and you're enjoying the game, you're going to play through all of it. And when you play through all of it, what happens? There's nothing more to play for the game, of the game. So you're going to walk away from the game for a bit. And even the developers of Power World themselves even said that, hey, we suggest that people walk away from the game for a bit. Once we have more content, come back to it. And I believe when it comes to the first Descendant, that is also the case too. Players want more from this game. Players are enjoying the game. Yes, people have their gripes. There's some people who dislike the game, but majority of the people enjoy it what they play with the game. They just want more content, and they want Nexon to listen to them in terms of putting more content out. And also, if you know the history of Nexon themselves, Nexon has a history of putting out some bangers, but the problem is after they put the bangers out, they abandon their games. So players also know the history of Nexon. Nexon has a history of taking your money and then, especially when it's a good game, take your money and then don't support it and then walk off and make a new game. So they have a history of that, and you don't know that history because you haven't bothered to do the research to any of that at all. And not only that, she's only judging the first Descendant based on that clip itself. And to me, that's the worst way to go about it, and it's misrepresenting the game. Because if you actually see the trailers to the game and actually play the game, you know that there's more to this game than the sexy outfits. Yes, it's included in there because it's called fan service, but look at the various outfits that you have in the game. You can have a space frog suit. You can have a fighter suit. You can almost look like Master Chief in some of these outfits as well. And they have outfits for both the males and the females. There's a variety to have here. And then as far as that dance is concerned, it's an emote, which means that any character or female character can use that emote no matter what outfit it is. And the thing about that is that all of these outfits within the games are optional. It's not forced upon you, it's not thrusted on you or anything, and you don't even have to interact with it. So to me, I find that pretty disingenuous and dishonest, and I find it very ignorant when it comes to that, because that doesn't fully represent the game. Yes, They're giving the fans the fan service that they want, but there's a lot of other costumes in that game and a lot of other things that you can participate in or partake in when playing the First Descendant. Or I see it as like narrow-sighted when it comes to viewing this game through the lens of that one clip that you've seen.
My only experience with this game that I have seen has been people posting cleavage shots, butt shots, and camel toe shots.
When it comes to X itself, it's all algorithm based. If you're constantly interacting, especially if you're in the culture war space, if you're constantly interacting with said content, especially when it comes to the quote unquote gooner stuff, then all you're going to get is gooner stuff. If you just go on YouTube and type in First Descendant, you're not going to find nothing but gooner stuff. You're going to actually find content creators who actually make guides on how to build your characters and build your loadouts and how to complete certain missions and certain tasks, and even update you on the game itself when it comes to their upcoming season 2 and their patches and everything. So there's a lot going on with this game, but when you're only interacting with quote unquote gooner stuff, all you're going to see is gooner stuff. So how about you change up? How about you change up your algorithm when it comes to this type of content? That's all you have to do. And another issue that I have is the fact is that Melonie Mac herself is condemning the game based on a player's interaction and a player experience when it comes to the game. Because as you see in this clip and what she says about this clip,
you a little bit. I'm not going to show the actual video because I do have a lot of Christians who follow me who probably wouldn't appreciate having something like that thrown on the screen, but a lot of you already know what I'm referring to. Now, this is a game called The First Descendant. Didn't play it, didn't really comment on the game itself. I commented on the material that was presented in question.
It's all solely based on that player itself.
I lost a lot of followers here on YouTube and on X because I said I do not want perversion in video games.
Why are you judging other players? She talks about taking perversion out of games and everything like that, but what constitutes perversion according to her? And why are you judging other people's player experience? This is how this player wants to experience the game. This person just wanted to create content just to upload onto their X profile to show everybody. That's that person's player experience. How does that have any bearing, and how does that have any effect on your enjoyment when playing a game like First Descendant itself? That's that person's experience. For me, I don't see myself doing that because that's not what I do. But that player is allowed to do that. What bothers me the most is the fact is that she tries to use God and use the Bible as a weapon. Then she tries to pretend that somehow she's a martyr for Christ and that she's being persecuted simply for being a Christian or having Christian views. And I'm going to say this. No, people are only pointing out the hypocrisy and your consistency within the gaming culture itself. And me, I'm a Christian myself. And what pisses me off the most is when people act like they're holier than thou, but at the same time turn around and partake in the same thing that they're condemning other people for. How can you do that? You're playing video games. You enjoy the same content that I enjoy. We're all gamers. And the fact is that you're playing games and you're a Christian, you're playing games that has death, violence, and sexual undertones. And you partake in all those type of themes when it comes to video games. But all of a sudden, because a woman is in a leotard shaking her ass by the player's choice, not the game itself, but the player chose to do that, all of a sudden it's a big issue.
Read the Bible. Seek Jesus. Only he can help you.
And this is where the inconsistency comes from. And me as a Christian, this is what upsets me the most, is because it gives Christianity a bad name. Because there's people out there who may want to be a Christian or be a follower in Christ, but then there's people like Melonie Mac who comes around and does stuff like that and become a hypocrite and also be inconsistent with her views, and then want to throw out the Bible whenever it's convenient for her. And that's the thing that offends me the most, and it's one of the main reasons why I pretty much turned my back and walk away from the church. Now, I'm still a Christian. I still believe in God. And what I've also learned too, that church is in here. It's your personal relationship with Christ or whatever like that. That's why you never ever see me on Twitter chastising and looking down and talking down to people and using God as a sword and using the Bible as a shield to attack other people. I never do that. And when you come to my live streams and we have our deep talk and real talk discussions, I mention God. I mention my relationship with God, and I never force God on you or what like that. But the thing is, y'all respect me so much, and y'all also want to hear my thoughts on God. You guys really get really invested in it because you see the type of person I am in my character and how I walk, you know, because I have my own personal relationship with Christ himself. And this is what pisses me off when I see people that does this.
Read the Bible. Seek Jesus. Only he can help you.
But then turn around, has so many skeletons in their closet and has so many issues going on behind the scenes, but then turn around want to pretend that they're so heavenly bound to the point that they're no earthly good. And that's the wrong way to go about it, especially when you're a Christian. And I just find that just reprehensible. Then, of course, you have your so-called Christian warriors that also came to our aid. More specifically, none other than John Della Rose himself. Now, we talked about John Della Rose. I had my interactions with this guy before, called him out on his bullshit when it came to the whole Zelda spin-off game that came out for the Nintendo Switch, where he was claiming that it's a girl balls game and Link is being sidelined and etc. And I had to call him out on his bullshit, and here he comes. He comes into the mix, and if you want to check that video out with my interactions with him, you can definitely check that out. But here he comes to the rescue. And my problem is, it really shows a lot when it comes to this, because this guy also claims that he's a Christian as well. And you gotta also see his stance, that he also justify the banning of porn in games. Now, I'm putting porn in quotes, is for the simple fact is, we already see the inconsistency of what Melonie Mac deemed as porn. So this guy, the same guy over here, John Della Rose, we don't know what constitutes as porn to this guy. So let's go find out. Because for the simple fact is, this guy is all for the banning of porn, but if you guys don't know, he's an independent comic book creator and an author of his own comic book series. And when you look at his sci-fi and fantasy comic book series, and you look at his covers, and if you even look at some of the things that goes on in his comics, you see the sexualization of women. And even on the front of this cover, you got a chick with big ass boobs, and she got pasties on them. So is that porn? Because if you go by that logic or whatever like that, if you look at that, I don't know what's going on here. I think somebody's being a hypocrite, or I think somebody's talking out of their ass when it comes to all this. Because how are you going to speak against everything about porn and about we need to get rid of porn, but then you turn around and look at your own work, you have sexualization of women. And the thing is, I have no issues of how he goes about his artwork and tells his story and designs characters. But you can't be on a platform preaching about this stuff and then do the complete opposite of what you're condemning people of doing. And this is the stuff that I'm talking about. And these people are claiming to be Christian. That's the thing that baffles my mind. It just baffles me how these people are. And John Della Rose is no different. Why I don't take him serious, and you gotta look at the birds of a feather flock together, is the simple fact is that John Della Rose even exposed himself, explaining that he's not really a YouTuber or anything like that. He's just a comic book writer and an author and everything, and he just used his platform just to sell his books.
I would love for you to sign up for my newsletter. I give you 3 free books just for doing so. A fantasy book, a sci-fi book, and a superhero graphic novel. I write all 3. I'm extremely prolific. I do this as my main job while I do YouTube kind of on the side here for fun, just to, of course, get some attention towards the books here, which I really appreciate. You guys have been reading like crazy.
That's all this is to him. This is nothing but a grift. He gets into controversy, claim that people cancels him because of his Christian beliefs and his Christian values, just to spark a controversy to try to bring traffic to his channel just so he can sell his book. That's all this is about. This is all one big grift, especially coming from him. And let's not forget about simp ass Jeremy from the Quartering. He came in as well to weigh in on his opinion and come to Melonie Mac's rescue as well. And people constantly go back and forth with him, especially when Melonie Mac also get called out on. I swear to God, if Melonie Mac was able to sell him bathwater, he would be the first in line to drink it. So the thing is, over time, Melonie Mac was exposed to having opposing opinions before becoming a prominent voice within the culture war itself, especially when it comes to the anti-woke side of the culture war. So her stances, even on the LGBTQ, has come into question. And also, most importantly, the reboot Lara Croft.
I feel like this is the best characterization we've had of Lara ever. I can say that confidently. This version of Lara is the most well-rounded personality that we've ever seen in any Tomb Raider game in the history of time. Croft, take a beautiful character and make her uglier. Make her look more and more plain.
I found 2 videos Mel unlisted because she forgot there's links on TombRaiderForums.com. First was after the demo and second after completion. And in 71 minutes, she never mentioned Lara is plain and ugly.
You got me curious now.
I'm gonna start off just talking about the character model because that was a big thing for me.
Literally like the exact same character model.
So the character model, big win for me.
Lara Croft, take a beautiful character and make her uglier. Make her look more and more plain.
But I can speak for an improved Lara, both like physically. In the cutscene, Lara looks great. I really like Lara's character model overall. And in the cutscene, she looks great. You gotta love her, man.
So after seeing her stances constantly moving with the wind, flip-flopping back and forth, she pretty much pulled a Candace Owens, because Candace Owens was a flaming lefty as well. And then overnight, months went by, and all of a sudden her stance completely changed. And the question right now that I have is, a lot of people always say that, hey, maybe Melonie Mac changed. Maybe people can change. And I agree with that. But can we say that for Melonie Mac? Looking at all the examples provided, her flip-flopping, changing her stances, being inconsistent with her messaging and her actions. So now it all boils down to, is she a grifter or is she not? And I'll leave that up to you guys to decide for your own whether or not she's a grifter when it comes to this culture war space, because man, those inconsistencies are not looking good. But that's pretty much my overall thoughts on this, man. I just think that in the current state of the culture war, we're going to see a lot of this coming from content creators, people actually letting the mask slip off, people being inconsistent. Like I said before, when it comes to the lefty side, they've always been this way. We know this, but we're going to start seeing it more on the anti-woke side. When you start seeing people's stances change, you start seeing people slowly letting what their true motives are and their true thoughts are when it comes to the culture war space. And as I said before, like the thing that really bothers me the most is the fact is that she uses God, she uses her Christian faith as a way to protect herself and shield herself from her inconsistencies. And the moment people call her out on it, she tries to make herself into a victim and also tries to make herself into a martyr, that she's being attacked for her Christian values and her Christian beliefs. And I just think that's shitty, especially someone like me who's also a Christian and stuff. And I don't like that at all, because it really gives Christianity a bad name, allow people to pretty much laugh at our belief and laugh at our God, laugh at Jesus and everything like that. And I just think that's just a bummer, man. But I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment sections below. What are your thoughts on this whole Goonergate and the Melonie Mac situation? Do you think she's a grifter, or do you think she must be going through something right now, and she's going through a crisis that she can't share, and she's trying to figure this all out? I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe button for more gaming content here on this channel. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.
Hey, Wrath. I was able to pinpoint Jasmine Mitchell's location.
Remember the pain, and remember the suffering.
What do you mean they're coming after me? I don't get it. How did they find out?
Everyone around you will pay the ultimate price.
I think someone just walked into my apartment.
Jasmine, get the hell out of there right now.
What are you?
Damn it, kid, I'm on my way!
High-grade silver nitrate bullets. Something your kind doesn't take lightly. Well, am I right, vampire?
What is going
Kid,
on
did
here?
you forget? The party was canceled to avoid a potential police raid. Your friend should already know that.
No fucking way. Is he even human?
doing?
Jasmine, step away from the window right now!
Damn it! Looks like the police are headed in your direction.
No! Wait! Jasmine!
Only then will you become the man I remember. Hezekiah Trippin.